Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming to Google Detroit today. We are super excited to have Mount Joy, a folk rock-based band from Los Angeles. They just started their fall tour and just actually earlier this year released their first studio album called Silver Linings. We are thrilled to have them here. They have just kicked off their fall tour, which goes from now through about Thanksgiving. Just 4 shows in, I think. They spent the weekend in Wisconsin and St. Louis. After tonight, when they play the Shelter, they're going to be headed out to New York, I think, next. But you guys are absolutely in for such a huge treat today. These guys are amazing, and we are happy to welcome Michael, Sam, Matt, Sotiers, and Jackie to the stage. They're going to play a couple of songs for us. So let's give them a big Google Detroit welcome. Woohoo!
Hello, everybody. Hello. How's it going? You guys have delicious food here. If all else fails, you still got that. All right, this one's called Sheep.
Paid in blood.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Sorry, I can't get off my mind. Jackie's from Portland, Oregon, and she said this is her favorite weather. Yeah, I guess we can introduce ourselves. That's Jackie on the keys. Hi. Satiri on the drum. Usually there's more than one. Michael on the bass, and Sam on the guitar.
This is Matt here.
Hey. And I dropped off an application, so if you want to look that over, let me know. This one's called Silver Lining. Thanks so much again for having us and listening, and we appreciate it. We're Mount Joy. I think this is going to work.
Up on the mountain, caught on the rail line. Up on the mountain, caught on the rail line. My brother, let the doctors be. Drink your wine, smoke your weed, my brother. Let the heart stop. And wave your silver line, wear it close to your skin. But if it's the judge, the women, the white, the weed, the love, then to everything I owe, take it all, and tell the ones you love them, teach only what you know, and know, you better know it well. We drove from coast to coast, down to New Orleans, where the levees broke, 'cause you were tripping, I was driving, you were running, I was hiding, and I know how that feels. Don't get cheated, kid, just swing from your ears, and if you get carried away, let the music play through the pain and away. That's it. The lining, wear it close to your skin. But if it's the judge, the women, the white, the weed, the love, the two, everything I owe, just take it all, and tell the ones you love them, teach only what you know, and know, you better know it well. Up on the mountain, caught on the rail line. Up on the mountain, caught on the rail line.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much. And how about one more huge round of applause for Mount Joy?
All right.
Just want to do one more quick round of introductions. So from my side over, this is Sam.
Hey,
this
guys.
is Michael. This is Matt. This is Sotiri, and that's Jackie.
Hi.
So, all right, you guys, I think the first thing I'd love to do is just kind of learn a little bit more about the band because from what I read, you guys are relatively new. You've been together a couple of years, but I cannot believe the amount of touring you did in 2017 from Electric Forest to Bonnaroo, all over, and you just released your first studio album. So, first question, where does the name Mountjoy come from?
So Matt and I, Matt's in the middle here, we met in high school outside of Philadelphia. And Mountjoy is just like a little mountain kind of like between our houses where we first kind of started making music.
Is it true? I think, speaking of, did I hear that you used to record songs in your brother's room, Sam? Is that right?
My brother had like a little crappy console thing. This was in like, I don't know, you were in like 9th grade maybe?
Yeah.
I'm 2 years older, but yeah, I think we were in high school and we kind of would make some dumb songs and things in my brother's room. But
They weren't that dumb.
Yeah.
Did any of them make it onto the new album?
Did any of
those crappy songs?
No. Weren't they? I forget what they were about. But there was some,
The original was about we caught. I don't know if they have these here, but those like stink bug things. When I was in that age, for whatever reason, they like attacked America. It's one of the most vicious attacks on our homeland, and they were truly everywhere. And so we started. Me and my friend captured them and like would keep them to see how long they would live. I have no idea why. This is on the internet. Oh my god. So yeah, then we wrote a song about one because it like lived forever.
Stink bug, huh?
Yeah.
So that's how you guys met, and then if I'm not mistaken, then you randomly ran into each other in Los Angeles. Not that long
kind of.
ago.
So Matt and I had some songs we wanted to record, and for whatever reason, we were just like, we need a bassist. So we went on Craigslist, and we found Michael.
That's what's going to be my next question. Craigslist.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the man-seeking group of men.
Yes.
That's what you posted. Yeah.
That's where we found him.
Did you auditioned Michael, obviously, and was he your first choice, or how did that go?
Yeah,
Did you
no,
look
it
all
was,
over?
We literally, we were talking about this the other day. We went to like a little room in like Studio City or something, or
North Hollywood.
North Hollywood, and we just kind of started playing these songs, and then Michael was like, "Oh, my roommate can record us," and then Michael's roommate Caleb
From
recorded
Detroit.
from
From Wayne.
Detroit.
Woo.
He recorded the first few songs.
So Terry, how did they find you?
I was friends with Michael. We were doing a gig together, and then I think a few months after we met, maybe like a year, less than a year after we met, he hit me up, and here I am now, nervously answering a question.
You did great.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Jackie, I'm pretty fascinated with you. I first of all watched some of your Instagram stories, and I've seen you playing piano and keyboard at randomly places like in the airports and whatnot. So tell us first. We heard that you're from Portland, but tell us how you joined the band.
Yeah, so I moved to LA 2 years ago, and I actually met everyone through Michael's friend. So yeah, that's how that happened.
And I know you're only a couple performances into the tour, but how is it being the only girl on the road with these guys?
Oh, it's
Any
great.
secrets to share of how you manage that?
I'm the princess. No, I'm just kidding. No, everyone's super, super chill. I think we've got this like family vibe going on. So yeah, it's cool. I have like 4 brothers now.
4 brothers and best friends. That's great.
BFF.
Let's talk about the album a little bit. So, Silver Lining, amazing album. Cannot believe you guys posted one. I don't know if it was a song off of the album, but you kind of on a whim just posted a song up on Spotify and were blown away by how many plays you got in the first 48 hours. Is that song on this album?
Yeah, so that was actually recorded at Michael's apartment. It's called Astrovan. Was the first song we put out almost 2 years ago now. But then we re-recorded some of those songs, but that original Astrovan was the original one from Michael's house. But the album wasn't even a thought at that point. It was just, let's put some songs online.
Who owned the Astro van? You're in the Motor City, so we got to talk about cars somehow, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I got that reference. A lot of the songs at that time, like, were sort of these sense of humor, joke kind of things, because we weren't facing the public in any way. It was just sort of like trying to make lighthearted songs, and it was really more like I was picturing the character Jesus, not necessarily in a spiritual way, but like him kind of being this carpenter guy that was like a stoner, just trying to put him in 2018, like what that would look like. And that's just the car I felt like he was going to be driving around. I don't know.
So back to the album, the inspiration for it, I read kind of varies from 60s and 70s rock all the way through current. It's interesting because the first time I listened to it, I felt a huge My Morning Jacket vibe. And I actually did feel a little bit of a Deadhead vibe come through. So hopefully I'm a little bit on with that. If you want to talk about the inspiration of how you came to put this compilation together.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think at least Sam and I grew up on like a lot of 60s, 70s music just from our parents, and it sort of has always stayed my favorite music, which I know doesn't happen for everyone. So I sort of learned to write listening to Grateful Dead, Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, all of that stuff, and then as there's some more contemporary bands. My Morning Jacket's definitely an inspiration, so that's cool. And yeah, I don't know. I think again, like the beginning of and writing of the songs was really pretty. There wasn't ever a thought of like, all right, let's try to make something that sounds like My Morning Jacket or anything like that. It was. I think it just that stuff sort of came out naturally. I don't know.
Well, where does your inspiration come from personally when you sit down to write or when you sit down to play? Do you have a guilty pleasure or some kind of venue that you like to create in or get creative? And actually, I'd love to hear from each of you if you don't mind answering this question. Whoever wants to start.
I'll just go down.
Yeah, I mean, I think our songs, for the most part, start just on acoustic guitars and then kind of build from there. But, yeah.
So actually, Sam, that's a good point. So if you start, as a guitarist, if you start on an acoustic guitar, how would you bring someone like Jackie in on the keyboard into an inspiration?
I don't know. I think we just kind of start playing. Like we have a bunch of ideas now that we've just kind of been working with for album 2, whenever that ever happens. But I think it's just kind of finding these threads and working on them. It's hard because we're on tour so much. There's not a ton of time to work on these things, but finding that time and just kind of trying to tie the threads together.
What about you, Michael? Where does your inspiration come from?
As far as bass playing, especially Mount Joy, I think it's very just reactionary. So it's I'm not I lack a certain skill in just sitting in a room and putting a song together by myself for whatever reason. And so I think for me, it's usually when there's like a skeleton of something occurring. That's where I sit in best, is hearing something and reacting to it on the bass, whether it's just one note or a bunch of notes or whatever. That's kind of where I draw my inspiration from.
I don't know. I think in terms of like where I like to create, I think a lot of it, at least on this record, was like that thing where you can't fall asleep or there's some sort of like odd energy in you or you're restless in some way. And I think for me, that's like the best time to like pick up a guitar or start being creative and just trying to channel whatever that energy is that's like stopping me from doing what I want to do into like song or whatever that ends up being.
Like an ex or like some kind of fight or some
I don't
restless
know.
night
I
of
think
too
it's
much
just
Red Bull.
insomnia or weed or whatever that is. Instead of like, scrolling through my phone until like the end of time, I just pick up a guitar. And I also scroll through my phone through the end of time as well.
Are you scrolling through social media? We're at Google, so we have to ask some digital questions.
Yes. I do this thing where it's like a loop. Like, especially if I've been smoking or something, where it's like I'm back at Twitter somehow, even though I've like gone through everything in my phone. I open it again, even though I know everything that's in there, and that's when I know I'm like, oh no.
I think we just cracked your insomnia issue. Social media. What about you, Sotiri?
I'd say, yeah, if anyone has like a skeleton of a song, I like to kind of work around that, and or just kind of sit in a room with just the drums and kind of just mess around and see what happens, and then maybe show these guys, or that's about it. And if weed's there, weed's there. If it's not, it's not there. So
Jackie, last but not least.
There goes that Google application.
When I create, I think it's kind of like what kind of a day I'm having. If I'm feeling a certain way, I kind of write based on those feelings. But for this project, like, I think a lot of it is just like vibing, and we've been touring together for like a year, a little over a year now, and so just kind of figuring out where we all fit in and coming together with different ideas, trying new things out every night. Yeah.
So I was looking at all the places that you have yet to go. I know you're 4 cities or so in. How do you pick a tour like that? Do you feel like, as the musicians of the band, that you have any say in where you go and landing in Europe, for example? Why don't you answer that, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, we have an agent who maps things out for us, but we definitely have a say. And we get to go to Europe later this year, which is gonna be crazy. But we've been touring. I mean, I know this tour just started like 4 days ago or whatever it is, but we've really been touring pretty nonstop since early March. And so we're kind of starting to hit cities twice, and from there you kind of just have to expand, and I guess Europe's going to be awesome.
I read that NPR said that you guys are a great festival band. How do you feel about playing festivals versus being on tour together and playing at places like the Shelter tonight?
A lot of free stuff at festivals.
Yeah.
A lot of open bars. There's a lot of maybe sometimes free shirts and shoes. So it's pretty sweet.
Festivals are great. There's always a ton of people, but there's something about your own show where you know that people aren't just kind of like wandering over a field because they hear music. They bought a ticket and they're into it, and they're watching and listening and appreciating.
I mean, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, Electric Forest, there's not much you haven't done, but is there a festival that you are kind of hoping to get an invite to? And we are recording this, and this will go up on the YouTube
Looks
channel.
into camera.
So. Looks into camera.
I don't know. I mean, I think Coachella would be awesome. I'm probably like missing them. I don't know. I'm not
Sasquatch
like
would have been cool, but
yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
gone.
I've always wanted to do that, and then they retired it because we wanted to do it.
yeah, exactly.
Burning Man.
Burning Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we can't afford to.
Just missed that. Just a week or so.
Next year. Yeah.
So, Thierry, I know you're terrified of me throwing a hardball at you, so I'm going to ask, what was your favorite thing that you had from the lunch at Google today?
The mushroom risotto. Is that what that was?
Stroganoff.
Stroganoff. I'm sorry. Yeah, I love mushrooms and Italian.
The food,
The food. Yeah.
not the hallucinogenic.
Everyone, it's okay. Calm down.
Truly don't do as many drugs as it seems
No,
right
we
now.
don't.
No. I honestly do love mushrooms, like portobellos, cremini, the whole.
We get off the stage and we drink LaCroix.
Yes.
We're not that band. I don't
Yeah,
think.
we're okay. Yeah.
We're big
okay,
fans
Mom.
of LaCroix here, so we'll
Nice.
hook you up afterwards.
Can
Along
you
with the
actually?
Froyo
Yeah.
machine, too.
Oh my
Yes,
God. Okay.
yes.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. So, Jackie, Matt said that you love this weather. Wish
it's
it would
the
have been a
best.
nicer, sunnier day here. There's all kinds of stuff happening in Detroit today, actually. We've got the Lions playing, we've got the Tigers playing, and of course we have Mount Joy playing at the Shelter tonight. But can you talk a little bit about your journey from Portland to Los Angeles? And we have a women at group here at Google, and we like to talk a lot about empowering other women. So love to know if you've had like a little secret to your success so far on your journey from Portland.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, I moved to LA just kind of on a whim. It was random and so not like me. I think I decided in July of 2016, and then I moved out September 2000, that same year. But yeah, I think just surrounding yourself with like a good community of people who are going to encourage you to pursue what you want to pursue, and then just being confident, knowing that you put in the work and everything else will come as long as you put yourself out there. So
you went from one of the rainiest cities to one of the sunniest cities in the country.
But luckily, like, we're touring so much, so I'm not there ever.
Do you guys all have your cell phones on you?
Sure do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna play a little game. Pull those on out.
All right.
So
Google.
one of my best friends from my childhood is actually here today with me. And before I have you look on your phone, we're going to start with you, Sam. We're going to do a little lightning round of questions to get to know each of you better.
Oh, boy.
Just pick one word. What would your best friend from childhood, whether that's Matt or someone else, use to describe you?
Oh, no. I have to do this for myself?
Yeah, you.
I'm going to text mine.
Half Jewish. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah,
Okay,
let's go
that's
with
your
that.
answer.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
half Jewish.
Sure.
Michael.
Oh, we're going down the line.
It's tough, right?
I grew up in Oklahoma, so probably just liberal. That's what. So I grew up with some really conservative friends, but
Sure.
they're still good friends.
Sure, absolutely. What about you, Matt?
Goofy.
Goofy. So Terry.
Extremely confident.
It's 2 words.
And Jackie.
Introverted. I'm actually sweating up here.
It's so cold in here.
Okay, so pull those phones out. This is something we actually make our clients do when they come to Google. Well, we don't make them, but it's usually like a fun icebreaker. If you don't mind, and maybe you might have to censor this a little bit, but take a look on your phone and tell us the last thing that you Googled.
So I don't have my phone on me, so
shoot.
I already failed. But I know what it is.
Okay, yeah, tell us if you know.
It was in the back. We were trying to figure out the Little Caesars Arena. We're trying to figure out how long it's been here in Detroit. And
What'd you learn?
well, I learned that the Red Wings used to play at the Joe Louis Arena, and then the Pistons played at the Palace in Auburn Hills, and now they're both here behind us.
That Google.
Yeah,
It's a great
Google's great. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, when you walk back out, notice that the original, before there was a Joe Louis Arena, it was Olympia was the name of it. It was Olympia Barn. The original sign from that stadium is actually right here. You can see it from our windows here on the 4th floor. The big Olympia logo. It's pretty cool. There's more stories. I don't know if Dave Hoffman's here. I'm sure he's happy to share if he is.
That's pretty good.
What about you, Michael? What's the last thing you Googled?
It's going to make me look like I do more drugs, but I was Googling articles about Elon Musk's blowback from smoking
that's
a blunt with Joe
hilarious.
Rogan.
Wait,
Yeah.
was there a blowback? I just
A
saw
little
the
bit.
interview.
I was just reading an article about how the Air Force doesn't know how to handle it. I guess they're like people are requesting them to start an investigation in Elon Musk.
It's legal. It's legal where he was when he
It's
smoked
true.
it. It's
Yeah.
legal.
So
I'll lead the investigation.
yeah.
Okay, Matt, what did you
This is
what did you
actually
Google?
crazy for where we are right now, but we in Satiri were trying to figure out how many users certain social media applications have. So I Googled, I just have the list of like the number of users on the top social media applications.
What is that? Which the top?
So Facebook's number 1,
Yeah.
YouTube is number 2, and then WhatsApp, followed by Facebook Messenger, which is a loser move. That should be
Yeah,
whatever.
it's 2 things that no.
They can't have both.
Yeah.
And then WeChat, and then Instagram, and then some foreign ones.
Yeah, I was doing some research on you guys. You guys have 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's very good. That puts you into a top creator profile. You have about 7,500 fans on Facebook. You have about 3,000 Twitter followers. And on Instagram, you're killing it. You have like 13,000 followers on Instagram. But by far and away, your YouTube music plays and your Spotify plays are just off the hook. So,
right?
yeah, your streaming music
to
services
know.
are getting a lot of use.
Cool.
Keep it up. Good work. Before we get to you, Sotiri and Jackie, who is your social media manager? Is it amongst the 5 of you, or do you outsource that?
I kind of run the Instagram and Facebook for the most part, and then our manager kind of just fills in the rest. But we all kind of like have access to the account and put up stories and goofy stuff along the way.
Is there anything off limits that you don't put up there,
I mean-
since you are a public persona?
There are things that are off limits, but
You can't talk about them?
no, I mean like I don't know, like naked pictures. I don't know.
Okay, fair. I mean, I feel like that's assumed. That's a given.
Well,
but,
he asked
like,
the question. I'm going to answer. No, I don't know. We all just kind of just. I think we're all.
I didn't know naked pictures were off limits.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna delete Matt's access to the accounts now.
Well, I run the Twitter, so it's fair game.
That's true. Matt does run. The
I think Twitter you can have naked pictures.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Well,
run
what
the
are we
Twitter.
can.
waiting for?
Doesn't sound very brand safe to me, but.
No,
So,
we-
Thierry, what's the last thing you Googled?
So mine was the thing that Michael was talking about, but I guess before that was lyrics to a Cold War kids song. So shout out to Long Beach, California.
And were you looking for the lyrics because you're going to maybe sing for us a little bit a cappella here
No,
and
I
surprise
was-
us
it
with
was-
one more performance?
No, it's like my phone just turned off. It just died.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what song it was during I watched a live set on YouTube, and I was Googling the lyrics because I didn't know what song it was. So now I do.
Now you do.
All right, Jackie.
Oh boy. I googled Mac Miller, rest in peace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't sleep last night.
Well, Jackie, actually, let's start with you with the second question.
Yeah.
So let's talk YouTube. What is your favorite YouTube channel or content creator, if you have one?
Ooh. Yeah.
And if that's too hard, what is maybe the last video that you watched on YouTube?
Probably a Mac Miller
Yeah.
YouTube video. Yeah. But
So
sorry.
No, please, please.
YouTube. I watch a lot of like music videos. That is like my go-to.
What's your favorite music video or music genre to watch on YouTube?
I'll watch anything John Mayer I can find.
Oh, he's your guy?
He is my guy.
Would you...
If you're watching, I can be your girl. No,
Is he
just
single?
kidding.
I think so now.
Based on my YouTube search, yes.
All right, well, if we have any John Mayer connections out there, let's hook her up. Hook a girl up.
Aren't you guys Google? Like, you can do that.
They're just strong
Once
arm
this
them.
gets posted on the World Wide Web,
There
we'll
you
see.
go.
So, Thierry, what's your favorite YouTube guilty pleasure or creator or last video?
I watch a lot of drum stuff, so there's a lot of drum, tuning videos and drum sets. But I think a good comedy one is Good Neighbor, which is like the dude Kyle Mooney from SNL, and then his guys. If you go watch that stuff, it's very funny. That's all I can think of, top of my head.
Do you find yourself watching a lot of TV too, or are you watching more streaming services?
Yeah, more, I guess, streaming stuff. Yeah, I don't watch much TV. I guess just Seinfeld is the only TV I really watch.
And you watch that probably through Hulu or YouTube
Yeah.
or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
Netflix, yeah.
Exactly.
What about you, Matt?
I don't know. A lot of like music stuff for sure, but also kind of sports are my getaway from all of this stuff. So I watch a lot of like House of Highlights. Watch a lot of there's this guy Frankie Vision that does a lot of like basketball highlights pretty quickly, and yeah, I don't know. That's probably.
So what's your team? You have a football team, baseball
I'm Philly
team?
all the way. So
Philly,
grew up in
okay.
Philly, so all the Philly sports teams.
Excellent. Michael.
For me, I watch a lot of gear reviews, like music gear reviews. So there's one in particular called Pedals and Effects that's all about pedals and effects over there behind you. And it's run by these two funny guys, one bass player who I really admire and one guitar player who I really admire. So, and Hot Ones. I watch a lot of Hot Ones.
Oh, that is a good one.
What's Hot Ones?
Ooh, it's so good. It's an interview show in which so this one guy does the interview, and he asks 10 questions, and with each question they eat, both of them, the person being interviewed and the interviewer, they eat a spicy chicken wing, and they get, with each question it gets way more spicy until they're, the last hot sauce is just like
Oh my God,
diabolical.
I totally could have taken you in that today.
Go. I mean, I'm sure I'm not.
I can't do spicy.
That's
so.
crazy.
But it's very funny, and the guy asks really good questions. And as the food gets spicier, people don't have much. They don't think about what they should and shouldn't say. They're just getting the answer out. So it's a good
I
show.
have to check that out.
Yeah, it's great.
And last but not least, Sam.
I watch a lot of Tim and Eric on YouTube just because they're just very short, simple, stupid videos that make you stop thinking entirely. But then we just put out a music video for our song Bigfoot,
yeah.
made by our friend Steve Gerard, and that is on YouTube as of like 4 days ago or something. Yeah.
Can you tell us, speaking of that video, oh my God, if you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. How did you make that costume for Bigfoot? I've seen it in my nightmares a couple times now.
So Steve did all of it. Steve Gerard, he did all of it. He actually did our album cover too. But yeah, he does all of our artwork, and he's a genius. He's an insane genius.
He's not here, is he?
No.
I was going to say, you are a weird guy, Steve. That's cool. Very cool. And did you have to shut down Times Square to do that video? Or?
I don't know how he did it. I think they went out at like 3 a.m. With a guy dressed as a bat pig man on a bicycle,
Yeah.
and like drove in front of him in a car. You got to watch the video. It's probably making no sense right now if you haven't seen it. But.
A very good video, though, and a great song, too. So, well, I was going to ask you about that album cover, but you just did, and that was going to be my last question. So we only have a few minutes left. Are there any questions from the audience that we could open it up to? Anyone brave enough to take their hand? Yeah.
Hey guys, we've all met, but Jason here. Can you talk a little bit more about the artwork actually? Because all like your band T-shirts, your posters, the inserts for like the vinyl, it's all got like a really cool, unique look to it. Is that all Steve?
Yeah, that's literally all Steve. So I met Steve. I was studying abroad in West Africa, and I didn't know anybody, and he was on my trip with me, and we became like really close friends. And he would travel everywhere with a little journal, and he would just draw these dumb, goofy little things everywhere in this little journal. And then like 8 years later, we were starting this band, and we were like, what should the aesthetic be? And I was just thinking like, oh my God, like there's Steve. So he like drew the bison, the sheep drawing, the cardinal, the album cover, the music video. Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, one more question, actually, if there aren't any from the audience. Raise your hand if this is your first time in Detroit. Nope. So you guys have all been here on a tour, I'm guessing, at some point in time. Is there any favorite scenes you like to check out when you're here, or favorite bar or restaurant, or even place to play?
I like this bagel place in Corktown called the Detroit Bagel Institute.
Yeah.
It's pretty banging.
What's your order? What's your bagel?
Lox, that's the move. Yeah, I like Detroit a lot. It's really cool. It's like there's a lot of hidden things in Detroit. Everyone looks at it and thinks it's just like a desolate like apocalypse town, but
I don't think everyone looks at it and thinks that.
Well, there was a time. It's coming back now.
Yeah. But I really like this place. So.
We're happy to have you here. Any other favorite Detroit haunts?
Google. Yes.
Awesome.
The Joe
Obviously.
Louis Arena and the Palace and Little Caesars.
The other two are gone now,
I know.
so here you are. Well, then LCA is now your favorite place. Yeah. So it was such a pleasure to have you guys here. Not only are you such an incredibly talented group of musicians, but you're an absolute joy to be around and to get to know. So if you find yourselves ever back in the Motor City, will you please come again? Maybe on that slip about album 2?
Yeah.
If that's in the
Good to be
works.
back.
We would love to have you guys. Thank you so much for coming to Google Detroit. Let's give one huge round of applause again for these guys.
Thank you.